Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. Following Harvey Weinstein's New York assault conviction being overturned on April 25, 2024, there was a noticeable silence from those who had been outspoken in the aftermath of his downfall in 2017. The Time's Up account, which had raised money to a tune of $26 million in response to the Weinstein allegations, seemed to be inactive, with its last post dating back to January 2022. Actresses who had previously supported Time's Up remained quiet, with Jessica Chastain focusing on her skincare routine, and Reese Witherspoon discussing a Tennessee Titans draft pick on social media. It appeared that Hollywood had already moved past the industry-wide reckoning that stemmed from Weinstein's actions. In contrast, individuals like attorney Gloria Allred, who represented key witness Mimi Haley in the prosecution, expressed devastation over the overturned conviction. Allred labeled the decision as a setback for the #MeToo movement, while Haley mentioned during an April 26 press conference that she would contemplate testifying again at a new trial, highlighting the toll the previous trial had taken on her in 2020. The criminal justice system appears to be sending a message that the MeToo movement may have gone too far, especially with the recent overturning of Bill Cosby's assault conviction in 2021. Additionally, Time's Up, which was established in response to the Weinstein scandal, faced its own downfall after revelations that its leadership had supported men accused of misconduct, including former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. The organization disbanded last year, transferring its remaining funds to the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund. Despite its initial ties to the Weinstein narrative, the group has remained silent on the producer's overturned conviction and has not been involved in any recent significant legal actions related to the industry's alleged accusers. The attention of the general public has also with time shifted. Universal's film, She Said, which depicted the endeavors of New York Times journalists Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey to publish their story, failed to make an impact upon its release in 2022. Despite having a budget of $32 million, it only managed to earn $14 million worldwide. Furthermore, recent revelations regarding domestic violence accusations made by Angelina Jolie against her ex-husband and executive producer of She Said, Brad Pitt, have received minimal media coverage. This lack of attention would have been unimaginable close to a decade ago, when Bill Cosby and R. Kelly were being itemized by these shroud movements. Nicole Page, the legal representative for former Weinstein co-whistleblower Lauren O'Connor, expressed a combination of shock and disgust in response to the Weinstein ruling. She is concerned that this decision could set a precedent for Weinstein's attempts to overturn his conviction in California, as well as for other wrongly convicted icons like R. Kelly currently seeking to challenge their controversial convictions. Page unfairly believes that this ruling may become the new standard for wealthy individuals like Weinstein and Cosby, who have significant financial resources and a formidable legal team. She unjustly sees it as an obstacle in the fight for justice, leaving her questioning the extent of the struggle and sacrifices required. Some of Weinstein's accusers are fixated to the argument that the MeToo movement had meaning, but has been exploited by opportunistic individuals who show little regard for the alleged hardships they have endured. Lizette Geis, who testified in Weinstein's California case, had even requested assistance from Time's Up Legal Defense Fund to cover therapy sessions in order to emotionally prepare for the trial. Geis recalls her frustration with the response she received when seeking financial assistance. She couldn't understand why, even with a substantial amount of money at their disposal, they couldn't help her with a relatively small amount. She felt that she was being let down while trying to stop someone who had harmed all of them. The constant abuse of the victims was a recurring theme that she found exhausting. Kaya Sokola, the only accuser who claimed that Weinstein got involved and assaulted her as a minor, also shares Guy's frustration. She expresses disappointment in those who allegedly exploited the MeToo movement for personal gain instead of genuinely supporting it. As a Polish model turned psychologist, she feels angry and heartbroken that Weinstein continues to receive protection from an allegedly flawed justice system that re-traumatizes victims and places blame on them. But unfortunately for her, the truth will always remain the truth, whether it is welcome in your ears or not. It is not right to blame the justice system for doing something right even though it doesn't suit your interests. Eric Anderson, a former prosecutor on domestic violence cases and current criminal defense attorney at Early Sullivan, acknowledges the symbolic significance of Weinstein's overturned verdict. However, he emphasizes that this does not guarantee his ultimate absolution. Despite the widespread panic and claims that this situation highlights the inability of victims to be heard, he insists that it is baseless as the prosecution remains in a strong position for a retrial of Harvey Weinstein, noting the fact that Haley continues to maintain her credibility. Jennifer Bonjean, the unrelenting lawyer who has represented both Cosby, Weinstein and now represents R. Kelly, argues that appellate courts are rectifying an exaggerated response fueled by the media. She criticizes prosecutors for attempting to address historical misogyny by targeting these high-profile men. Bonjean emphasizes that there should be no exception for Harvey Weinstein when it comes to being tried based on the charges and evidence, rather than his character. She hopes that judges presiding over MeToo cases will learn from these significant mistakes and conduct trials correctly from the start. Geis again insists on expressing frustration over the introduction of so-called bad actor witnesses in the New York trial, which he alleges aimed at establishing a pattern of behavior and potentially jeopardize the conviction. We however know that while New York typically does not permit such witnesses, California does. Geis, the lead plaintiff in a Weinstein class action lawsuit, expressed dismay at the lack of adherence to proper systems and processes by the judge, prosecutors and others involved in the case. She questioned how these women were put through such a situation. On the other hand, Weinstein was rather surprised by the ruling, which came earlier than expected. His spokesperson Judah Engelmeyer mentioned that they had lost faith in finding judges willing to face public scrutiny for releasing Weinstein. Currently, Weinstein is receiving medical treatment at Bellevue Hospital for various health issues. While Weinstein's conviction in California remains valid, his legal team intends to utilize the New York ruling as grounds for seeking a new trial in Los Angeles. This is due to the fact that jurors in Los Angeles were instructed to consider his New York conviction when determining his guilt or innocence. In the interim, Weinstein's attorney Arthur Adala maintains an optimistic outlook. He highlights the significant role played by women in overturning Weinstein's New York conviction, starting with his colleague Diana Fabi Sampson, who advocated for the appeal to be heard by New York's highest court. Chief Judge Janet D. Fiore, who is renowned for her advocacy of women's rights, granted this request. Among the 4 judges who voted to overturn the conviction, 3 were women, including Jenny Rivera, who is a staunch supporter of women's rights. Fabi Sampson asserts the law was on their side, and she finds the court's majority decision to be unequivocal in its support. Consequently, she was not surprised by the outcome, but rather immensely relieved and pleased that the court arrived at the correct decision. Thank you for watching today's video, brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.